Algebra. Today we're going to be learning how to multiply polynomials, which is super important for the rest of this year in algebra, as well as next year and really any math class that you'll ever be in. So if you guys have any questions, whether it's really small or a whole lot of confusion, make sure you ask me so I'm able to help you. And that's about it. I hope everyone's doing well and staying healthy, and I miss you guys tons. So the four different types for multiplying polynomials, or the four different methods, I should say, are FOIL, rainbow, box, and traditional. And everybody needs to know FOIL. I did like a little pink star up there, maybe start in your notes if you're following along. Everyone needs to know FOIL. We need to be able to go multiply with it and then kind of go in the reverse, which is the next chapter. So foiling is really important. And other than that, you can kind of choose your favorite between the other three listed below, rainbow, box, and traditional. It doesn't matter. They all do the same thing. So the goal for all four methods, or for multiplying in general, is to multiply every term in each polynomial by each other. So we want to make sure everything's being multiplied, everything's covered. And we will start with foiling. And what I should say about FOIL before we really go any further is that for foiling, it only works for two binomials, meaning I have two polynomials with two terms each. So I have a binomial times a binomial. Like, it would not work for this. That's not a two-term by a two-term. It would not work for this. This is a trinomial times a binomial, so we need two binomials for FOIL to work. So for FOIL, it's actually an acronym for first, outside, inside, last. So I'm going to start off with every FOIL that I do by multiplying the first two terms together. So what I mean by first is those two. They're the first in each binomial. So 2x times 4x is going to give me 8x squared. Remember, when we are multiplying bases, the same base with exponents, we add the exponents. So that's a little reminder for you there. So that's my first term. I'm done with the f. I can check that off. Next, I have outside, and the outside terms are the two on the outside, just like it sounds like. So I'm going to do 2x times 1, the two terms on the outside of each binomial, and I'm going to have just 2x. And I can check off my O, I'm done with the outside. Next, I have inside. The I stands for inside, and the inside terms here would be 3 and 4x. So I'm going to multiply those. 3 times 4 is going to give me 12. And I have the x there as well. Check that off. And last stands for last. So I'm going to do 3 times 1, and I am left with 3. You can check it off. And with multiplying, we are actually going to use adding as well, because we need to combine like terms to have our final answer in standard form. We want everything as simplified as possible. So when I combine like terms here, I'm just going to be able to combine those two in the middle. So I have 8x squared plus 14x plus 3, and you're done. You have yourself a trinomial. It's in simplified standard form, and that looks great. So the next one looks a little tricky, so I'm going to do this one with you, and then we will try one on your own. So for this one, same thing. I'm first, outside, inside, last, but the terms are a little bit more complicated. I have two different variables I'm dealing with. So for first, I'm going to multiply x squared y times 2x. So I'm going to have 2x cubed, because remember there's really a 1 there, and then I'm just going to keep my y by itself. There's no exponent I can put on it because I'm not multiplying by another y. Really, it's a 1, but you don't have to write that. Next, I have outside, so I'm going to be doing my outside terms. So I have 8x squared y times 3y. I'd be left with 3. Oop, I'm using the wrong color. I'm trying to color code for you guys. So I have 3y squared times x squared. And I'm realizing as I write that now, that's not in alphabetical order, so I'm going to go back and switch it. Not sure why I wrote that way. So I always want to have my terms in alphabetical order. So we'll do 3x squared y squared. Next, I'm going to do inside. So I have 9y times 2x leaves me with 18, and just like I said before, we're going to do alphabetical order, so we're going to do xy. And last, for my last term, I have 9y times 3y, which leaves me with 27y squared. And I had a lot of the same question last week. How do you put things in standard form when I have some of the same different terms with the same degree, but they're not like terms. So I actually have no like terms here at all in this polynomial. I cannot do anything else to simplify it, but you can go back and check that it's in standard form by looking at the individual degrees of each term in the polynomial. So this one has a degree of 4. Remember, we add up the degrees when we're looking for a term. So this one, 2 plus 2 is going to give me 4 for my degree. This degree is 2, and this degree is 2. So this is a great example for needing to put this in standard form. So when I have multiple terms with the same degree, but they're not like terms, we are going to, the kind of second thing that we look at for putting them in order is going to be alphabetical order. So this purple term is going to stay out front, and the pink one comes second because the degree on my x is higher in the purple term. Even though the degree of both terms itself is 4, I'm going to put the purple one out front. And then same thing for these two. I have 2 terms, both the degrees of the term is 2. However, we need to put this one out front because it has an x. This one doesn't even have one, and x comes before y. So next I want you guys to try this one. Pause the video because I'm going to show you the answer in a second. Try this one on your own using foil. Remember, first, outside, inside, last. Use the colors if it helps you. So pause now and unpause. You should end up with negative 8x squared plus 26x minus 15 for your answer. And next we're going to move on to rainbow. For rainbowing, I have a really simple example for you first, and then we'll move into ones that can get a little more complicated, but they're still not bad. We're just remembering we want to multiply every term by every other term. That's our goal here. So here I can just rainbow, think distributive property. I'm going to put it into every piece of that, and I'm just going to multiply. This first term, negative 5b squared, times this first term leaves me with negative 20b to the 8th. Remember to add your exponents with the same base. Negative 5b cubed times negative 2b cubed leaves me with 10b to the 6th power. And this term out here, this monomial times the third term, leaves me with negative 5b to the 4th power. And last but not least, I have positive 55, and I'm just going to keep it b cubed. And you are done. That is it. There are no like terms. This negative 5b cubed touched every piece of this polynomial, so we are done. This next one's a little bit trickier to keep track of. I like to go from the smaller polynomial to the larger one when I'm thinking this one through. So if this were me, I would multiply every term in this trinomial by that 4x to begin with. And then I would go back and multiply every term in this polynomial by the negative 3. That's how I would go about it. But you guys are going to try this one on your own at home. So go ahead and pause it. And then when you unpause, this should be your answer here. So it looks like when I did my example, I did exactly how I said I did. I did 4x times each piece over here, and I did the negative 3 times each piece over here. And when I multiplied by 4x, I have those terms in orange, just so you can kind of look through those. And then when I multiplied by the negative 3, I have those terms in this teal color. And there's a lot more simplifying here to be done. When I did the cubes, there's nothing else to combine it with, so I just kept it 8x cubed. I was able to combine 20x squared and negative 6x squared to give me 14x squared. And I was also able to combine negative 4x and negative 15x to make negative 19x. And the 3 is just by itself, nothing else to combine it with. So this should be our final answer here. And we are ready to move on to the next type. This next one is the box method. And I just talked with Miss Scully, and she let me know that you guys are learning Punnett squares this week. So we're going to kind of pull from that to figure out the box method, or maybe this will help you with science. It kind of goes both ways. So for the box method, I have a 2 by 2 here. I have a binomial times a binomial. So when I set up my box, I want to make sure that I have a 2 by 2. It does not matter where you put each binomial. So you could put the x minus 4 on top, or you could put it over here. It does not matter. You can flip-flop them, doesn't matter. So I'm just going to put the x minus 4, I'll put it on top. And when I write it out, I want to make sure I keep my x positive, and I want to keep my negative 4 negative. So that minus becomes a negative over here. And for 3x plus 2, I'm just going to do 3x and 2. And just like a Punnett square, I'm going to combine each. I'm going to multiply each to go into the box. So 3x times x leaves me with 3x squared. 3x times negative 4 leaves me with negative 12x. 2 times x is just 2x. And 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So we are done with that, but that obviously doesn't look like a typical polynomial. We need to write it out. So when you write it out, I like to start with the highest degree first. So the highest degree I have here is 2. So I have 3x squared is going to be out front of my standard form. And as I go, I like to combine. So I'm going to combine these two, the 2x and the negative 12x, because they are like terms. So when I combine those, I'm left with negative 10x. And last, I have nothing to combine that negative 8 with, so I'm just going to write minus 8. And this is your final answer. We have 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. And you are done using the box method. This next one I'm going to have you try on your own. You can pause it in a second. This is going to be a trinomial times a binomial. So when you set your box up, we are going to do it like this. We want to have 3 by 2. So this is a little bit different than Punnett square, but same idea and combining, kind of like a two-way table. You could also have a vertical box here. It doesn't matter as long as we have a 3 by 2. 3 by 2. So pause your video now, and I'm going to scooch over here for when you unpause. And I tried to color code again for you. I did mine horizontally. When I combined everything, I only had one cubed term, so I wrote that out front in the teal. My purple terms are both squared, that I dotted purple, so I put those next. When I combine them, I have negative 11y squared. And for 13y, I got that by combining just all the y's, so I dotted them orange for you to get 13. And then negative 15, I had nothing to combine, so I just kept it on the back. And that is it in standard form, and you are done with that one. Last but not least, I have traditional method to show you. Traditional method is back like when you learned how to multiply in 5th grade. Some of you, I think, I'm not quite sure, might have used the lattice method. That's not like this. This is more of like traditional multiplication when we had like 20 times 12, for example, and you needed to know to do 2 times 0, and then 2 times 2, and then hold the place, and then continue with the 1 times 0 and 1 times 2. So this is what we are pulling from here. This is not typically everyone's favorite method, but it's kind of cool to see. So for this, I'm just going to set it up. I'm going to put 4m plus 9 on top, and I'm going to put 2m plus 7 on bottom. I have them lined up kind of like I have the places lined up here. First, I'm going to do 9 times 7, and I'm not worrying about carrying or anything here. I'm just doing 9 times 7, and 9 times 7 is 63. So I did those. Now I'm going to do 7 times 4m, and 7 times 4m leaves me with 28m. Now my 63 was positive, so I'm just going to put a plus in there to kind of hold the place. And next, I'm going to hold my place down here because I don't have a constant that I'm working with anymore. I already used my constant. I'm holding the place, and I'm moving to the 2m. I'm doing 2m times 9 is 18m. Notice how it's lining up for you nicely here, so that's kind of a plus to this method. And 2m times 4m is 8m squared. And this is a positive term, so I'm just going to hold it with an addition sign. And now you can add, just like you would with traditional multiplication. So 63 plus 0 leaves me with just 63, obviously. When I combine 28 and 18, I'm left with 46m. This is positive, and I have 8m squared in the front, and you are done. So that's definitely a different method. I think you'll see less of that as you move up in grades, but it is still kind of cool to revert back to that, how you learned to multiply originally. So this next one, I'm going to have you guys try it. When I use traditional method for multiplying polynomials, I put the bigger number on top, kind of like you would with traditional multiplication. So I put my trinomial on top, and I line my binomial up right underneath it, and I make sure to multiply with the 4 by everything, hold my place, and then multiply by 3b. So you guys can try that now. Pause it if you're at home, do it on your note sheet, or you can do it on just a scrap sheet of paper and make sure you got it. And the answer is going to be here. This one was a little trickier to color code for you. I multiplied the 4 by everything in blue. It's going to be my blue line. And then I used pink to do the 3b by -7 and 6b and b squared, and that's the line in pink. And then when I added everything up together, it's already in standard form. Again, that's a plus to this method. It's in standard form, and I would be done. So again, guys, we just learned 4 methods of multiplying really quickly. So any questions that you have, send my way. Send me a message and remind. You can send me an email or come to one of the Zooms with more specific questions. Again, you need to know FOIL. You really have to have a good hold on foiling. Other than that, like if you didn't like the traditional method, don't do it. I suggest trying it, but if that's what's stressing you out, don't worry about it. Really, you should just pick another method, FOIL, and one other that you're really comfortable with and start to work with them. And we are going to be working on it for the rest of this week. So hopefully I'll see you guys soon in Zoom. Again, I miss you. I can't wait to get back to school and see you all soon.